guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living, or get busy dying.
The Shawshank Redemption is a movie about time, patience, and loyalty, not sexy qualities, perhaps, but they grow on you during the subterranean progress of this story, which is about how two men serving life sentences in prison become friends and find a way to fight off despair. The story is narrated by Red Redding, Morgan Freeman, who has been inside the walls of Shawshank Prison for a very long time and is its leading entrepreneur. He can get you whatever you need: cigarettes, candy, even a little rock pick like an amateur geologist might use. One day he and his fellow inmates watch the latest busload of prisoners unload, and they make bets on who will cry during their first night in prison, and who will not. Red bets on a tall, lanky guy named Andy Dufresne, Tim Robbins, who looks like a babe in the woods. But Andy does not cry, and Red loses the cigarettes he wagered. Andy turns out to be a surprise to everyone in Shawshank, because within him is such a powerful reservoir of determination and strength that nothing seems to break him. Andy was a banker on the outside, and he's in for murder. He's apparently innocent, and there are all sorts of details involving his case, but after a while they take on a kind of unreality. All that counts inside prison is its own society, who is strong, who is not in the measured passage of time. Red is also a lifer. From time to time, measuring the decades, he goes up in front of the parole board, and they measure the length of his term, 20 years, 30 years, and ask him if he thinks he has been rehabilitated. "Oh, most surely, yes," he replies, but the fire goes out of his assurances as the years march past, and there is the sense that he has been institutionalized, that, like another old lifer who kills himself after being paroled, he can no longer really envision life on the outside. Red's narration of the story allows him to speak for all of the prisoners, who sense a fortitude and integrity in Andy that survives the years. Andy will not kiss butt. He will not back down. But he is not violent, just formidably sure of himself. For the warden, Bob Gunton, he is both a challenge and a resource. Andy knows all about bookkeeping and tax preparation, and before long he's been moved out of his prison job in the library and assigned to the warden's office, where he sits behind an adding machine and keeps tabs on the warden's ill-gotten gains. His fame spreads, and eventually he's doing the taxes and pension plans for most of the officials of the local prison system. There are key moments in the film, as when Andy uses his clout to get some cold beers for his friends who are working on a roofing job. Or when he oversteps his boundaries and is thrown into solitary confinement. What quietly amazes everyone in the prison, and us, too, is the way he accepts the good and the bad as all part of some larger pattern than only he can fully see. The partnership between the characters played by Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman is crucial to the way the story unfolds. This is not a prison drama in any conventional sense of the word. It is not about violence, riots, or melodrama. The word redemption is in the title for a reason. The movie is based on a story, Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, by Stephen King, which is quite unlike most of King's work. The horror here is not of the supernatural kind, but of the sort that flows from the realization that 10, 20, 30 years of a man's life have unreeled in the same unchanging daily prison routine. The Shawshank Redemption is not a depressing story, although I may have made it sound that way. There is a lot of life and humor in it, and warmth in the friendship that builds up between Andy and Red. There is even excitement and suspense, although not when we expect it. But mostly the film is an allegory about holding on to a sense of personal worth, despite everything.
Am I sorry for what I did?
Well, I am.
There's not a day goes by I don't feel regret. Not because I'm in here, because you think I should. I look back on the way I was then. a young, stupid kid who committed that terrible crime. I want to talk to him. I want to try to talk some sense to him. Tell him the way things are. But I can't. That kid's long gone, and this old man is all that's left. I gotta live with that. Rehabilitated is just a bullshit word. So you go on and stamp your form, Sonny, and stop wasting my time. Because to tell you the truth, I don't give a shit.
To help me get my project on wheels. I'll keep an eye out for you, and the chessboard ready. Remember, Red, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. I will be hoping that this letter finds you, and finds you well.
I find I'm so excited I can barely sit still or hold a thought in my head. I think it's the excitement only a free man can feel. A free man at the start of a long journey whose conclusion is uncertain. I hope I can make it across the border. I hope to see my friend and shake his hand. I hope the Pacific is as blue as it has been in my dreams. I hope.